Metro Center, where more than likely they were patrolling, because that's what our members of the National Guard have been doing ever since the president put them on the streets of D.C. Metro stations, Union Station, our main train station, all our tourist destinations here in Washington, D.C. Now, sadly, 2 members of our National Guard have passed away after a suspect remains in custody after that suspect shot both of them on the streets of D.C. We're going to return you now to your regular programming. For some of you, that's your local news, but our coverage will continue on ABC News Live and abcnews.com. A complete wrap up on World News Tonight. I'm Kira Phillips. Glad you could be with us, but I will see you back over on the channel on ABC News Live if you want to stream with me.
This has been a special report from ABC News.
Continue our breaking coverage here on ABC News Live. I'm Kira Phillips. If you are just tuning in, we are coming back on the air with the sad news that those 2 members of the National Guard that were shot here on the streets of D.C. have now passed away. That word coming from the West Virginia governor, confirming to us that 1 male and 1 female serving in the National Guard, standing by at the Farragut West Metro Center, walking around that area in D.C., not far from the White House, doing their jobs, a suspect shooting them. They went down. They have now passed away. The president has been briefed. He has put out a statement on Truth Social, making it very clear that that suspect will pay a very steep price. Let's bring in our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky. Aaron, are you learning anything more about that suspect? We initially heard he was in critical condition. Do we know if he is the only suspect? And are we, by chance, learning the names of the 2 brave members of the National Guard that we have now lost?
At this point, Kira, it's believed that the suspect, who is in custody and said to be critically hurt, is the only suspect that the D.C. Metro Police has thus far mentioned. And it's still not clear why that suspect opened fire on these 2 members of the National Guard. The governor of West Virginia, Patrick Morrisey, said on social media, "It is with great sorrow that we can confirm both members of the West Virginia National Guard who were shot earlier today in Washington, D.C., have passed away from their injuries." The governor calling the 2 members of the Guard brave West Virginians who lost their lives in service of their country. Right now, the governor says the state is in ongoing contact with federal officials about the investigation. And he says the entire state is paying tribute not only to their service and sacrifice, but also demanding full accountability for what the governor calls this horrific act that happened in the middle of the day outside the Metro station, not far from the White House. The governor says those 2 members of the National Guard shot and killed. It appears they were able to return fire and critically wound the suspect, who was also taken to the hospital, now in critical condition. The governor's statement, though, Kira, did not identify the members of the National Guard who were killed today in Washington, D.C. He said the announcements and notifications to their families are ongoing.
All right, stay close, Aaron. I want to take it now to White House correspondent Karen Travers. Initially, before we got word of these 2 members of the National Guard passing away, the president had put out a Truth Social saying Okay, we lost Karen at the White House. We'll try to bring her back. Brad Garrett, former FBI, I'm going to bring you back in. Now that we know that these 2 National Guardsmen have lost their lives, we do not know a motive yet. We don't know anything about this suspect. We can only confirm that he is also in critical condition. The president making very clear in Truth Social he will pay a very steep price, but a lot of moving parts here, because there could be others that were involved in this shooting. It could be this one suspect. We don't know, but we do know a lot of agencies on the scene now: FBI, National Guard, DC Police, DC Fire, just to name a few of the agencies. So kind of tell us where things go from here as we continue to monitor these live pictures of this scene, Brad, where the shooting took place.
So the key, obviously, is a command post in or near this shooting, where you'll have the DC police and obviously these other agencies, because you want to basically get intelligence as quickly as you can. It's going to come to you maybe from various different directions. For example, I'm sure they've ID'd the shooter at this point. Where is he from? Is he a local person? Did he travel here from some other place? And, what's his deal? What's his background? What does he say on social media, if there's anything relevant there? So they've probably already conducted interviews to pull as much information as possible to do what I would call a profile or an assessment of him. Is he a lone actor? Was he targeting these two people personally? Probably not. He targeted whatever they represent in his world, in his reality. And just the sheer fact that he just walked up, I'm going to guess at fairly close range, shoots both of them, and then apparently they shoot him. Is he in fact connected to groups, associations, etc.? Are there other potential shootings planned? I'm going to guess here. My guess is that wouldn't be, that's just too direct. Could it be that this could generate copycats? Because we clearly have the National Guard in a number of cities. Sadly, the answer to that is possibly. And so they're going to have to take a look at that. But pulling information together as quickly as you can, disseminating it, and keeping everybody informed as to what's going on is part of the moving parts. You're right. It's like spokes on a wheel. You have the DC police doing things, the FBI, the ATF, even the National Guard doing information and pulling intel in and feeding to this command post. So
copycat.
my guess
There's
is
no
in
National
fairly
Guard
short order, you and I may not know, but
in
certainly
any
law
of this, so I
enforcement
don't
may
think it's
well
a
know
copycat.
what they have here.
Well, we now have another bit of breaking news, Brad, and apparently the governor of West Virginia may have gotten the information incorrect. It is possible that these members of the National Guard are actually still with us. Here's what Governor Patrick Morrisey is putting out now. We are now receiving conflicting reports about the condition of our 2 Guard members and will provide additional updates once we receive more complete information. Our prayers are with these brave service members, their families, and the entire Guard community. Wow, what a day this has been. Here's what I can tell you, what we can confirm, and that is because our photographer was there on the scene and he captured everything on video, that 2 members of the National Guard were shot. They are from West Virginia. One's a male, one's a female. They were in critical condition. We heard that from the president as well. Then the governor of West Virginia came out and said we lost them, that they had passed away, that they were shot dead by a suspect. Now the governor walking back that tweet that he put out, saying they are receiving conflicting reports about the condition of these 2 Guard members and will provide additional updates once we receive more complete information. I think all of us right now are holding out hope that those 2 members of the National Guard are still alive and still with us. We're working every detail on this story for you right now. We will have continuing updates right here on ABC News Live throughout the day. So glad you've been able to join us. I'm Kira Phillips. We do have more news after the break.
Thank God.
All across America.
Good morning. Hello.
Wherever we are.
It's good to be home.
It feels like home.
Hi. When's the last time?
Commercial.
was 1,400 photos. This betrayal was terrifying.
He wanted to kill my son. Once I tell the police what I have to say, he'll never get out.
Betrayal Under His Eye. Only on Hulu. America's #1 news, ABC News, now streaming 24/7 on Disney+.
Tonight, with tens of millions taking to the road and skies this Thanksgiving, know what to expect and where the problems might be as severe storms hit with a 1-2 punch. We're tracking it all. World News Tonight with David Muir is the most watched newscast in America.
Flash, flash.
Works on every side.
We have breaking news just into CNN. 7 people have been shot, including a National Guardsman just a few blocks from the White House. D.C. Metro Police said that they are on the scene. They're asking folks in the area to avoid going there. We're now joined by CNN senior law enforcement analyst Andrew McCabe, a former FBI deputy director. Andy, we are just learning from our producer that the scene has been secured. This is 17th and I, 1 block from the White House. There is a suspect currently in custody. Obviously, we have very limited details, just that several people were hurt. At least one member of the U.S. National Guard has been shot. Can you give us a sense of how an investigation like this begins, essentially? We have a suspect in custody, but now is when some of the real work begins.
Yeah, absolutely. So especially if we go back maybe half an hour or so before we learn this, just knowing there's been a shooting in that area, as Chief pointed out, you've got so many different agencies that are overlapping each other in this space. DC Metro PD clearly in the lead here. This is their turf, but you're in between the White House, where you have Secret Service, you've got Park Police. They have locations that they're responsible for all over the city. You've got the other federal agencies like the FBI. So there's the capability of a massive response. And usually I've seen it in responding to many situations in DC. You get an over response. People, officers on the street self-deploy to the area around the spot because they want to be helpful and they want to be able to kind of see what they can accomplish. And that's not that can be challenging with traffic and getting, if you have medevac issues, it's tough to get ambulances in and out of there. But for this, where you're looking for a subject, the more law enforcement, eyeballs that you can put on that problem, the better off you are. So this is also an area where there is an extraordinarily high degree of video capture. Most of that is private businesses, residences, things like that will have street-facing video capture. And so one of the first things you'll see law enforcement do is immediately start hitting the businesses in that area, that 17th and I intersection, to try to see if they can get video of the suspect. That can lead to a description and can put you in the position that we appear to be in now. We don't know if it's video that led them to this person, or maybe eyewitnesses, people on the scene who may have seen things and been able to provide information. But it's great news that they have someone in custody they think is responsible. That will certainly tone down what could have been a very problematic manhunt in the nation's capital on the day before Thanksgiving.
All right, so they think they got the right guy. So hopefully they do.
I should also say it's a tough time actually to be in the city because so many folks are trying to leave early to get home to Maryland, to Northern Virginia, and other nearby places where government workers and people who work in DC typically reside. So around this time of day, 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to see a massive traffic jams just normally because it's the day before the holidays. All that could really complicate the investigative efforts here.
and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now posting that 2 National Guardsmen were shot as part of this, saying, please join me in praying for the 2 National Guardsmen who were just shot moments ago in Washington, D.C. The Department of Homeland Security is working with local law enforcement to gather more information. Again, we just saw that from a post from the Homeland Security Secretary. But Annie McCabe, my question for you is, look, National Guard was deployed here to Washington, D.C. as part of the president's push here, but also why, can you just talk a little bit about the type of personnel that would typically be outside the White House in a spot like this? Again, a block from the White House, but in that area on a day like this, you have National Guardsmen, but obviously you would have police officers. Just what would the scene typically be like?
You know, Omar, typically it's a super crowded area of the city. You've got to the south and east just a little bit, you have the whole White House compound, right? Where you have the White House itself, the East Wing, the West Wing, the mansion. You've got the old executive office building next door, with the the Treasury on the other side. Got the Ellipse left.
You know, here's my problem. They're sitting ducks. They're not carrying weapons. So it's their own, it's well, probably what everyone's saying. It's end times. Their guns and their stuff ain't going to protect them no more. No. It's biblical or whatever they're saying. It could be. But keep the cameras rolling. Should we get it all documented? And we might need to use some of this stuff in court when we're showing it to them. They just are incompetent of running a country. It's gone crazy. So close to Thanksgiving, Christmas, but we'll probably be in war by Christmas. In the streets of America. It's just crazy.
Fayette Square, all these kind of square block areas that are part of the White House, all of that is patrolled by the Secret Service Uniform Division. So you've got Secret Service marked vehicles, uniform wearing, gun carrying agents, really saturating that area, especially any places that might give someone access to the White House compound. Now, in addition to that, if you go north of the 17 and I corridor, you cross K Street, now you're into really like the commercial center of DC. All of the law firms, the accounting firms, the lobbying firms, major corporate offices are all right in there on that like K Street corridor, L Street, all those areas going up Constitution Avenue into the more northern part of the city. So tons of office workers, professionals, people who are leaving their offices on foot, trying to make their way to the metro train, or going down into the garage and bringing their vehicles up onto the street. So a lot of traffic, a lot of crowds, a lot of chaos in there normally. In addition, you have all those other law enforcement entities that we talked about. And any one of those entities, Park Police, FBI, Homeland Security, could have units out in vehicles doing whatever businesses they have to do. Just patrolling, conducting investigations, in the case of Homeland Security folks, conducting maybe immigration activity. So it's a very dense, kind of charged area, both with civilians, with the people like cabinet members and people who would be going in and out of the White House doing business, and law enforcement. So that's why I think on our video now, you're seeing a lot of those different uniforms. Now, so add to this very confusing picture, the National Guard, who've been around in DC for a little while, so they're not quite as novel as they were in the first week or two. But these are folks who...
Well, the only thing I'm seeing is sidearms, which are government, military issued. Really, which ain't going to be doing nothing from rooftops, right? If they're being hit from the rooftops up there, taken out, their sidearm ain't going to be too good for them. I mean, they can hit people at the roof, but if they're being fired upon from up above, there's Nothing really. They ain't got no cover or nothing. So pretty crazy. But who would have enough balls? My question is to take out 2 National Guards from a rooftop or whatever. I don't know. That's how crazy America has gotten. They've let the animals run it so long. It's been so corrupt. There ain't nothing that can stop it. You know? And then all this stuff they're working on in other countries, they can't stand it. They can't stand America because America's been bullies for so long. Well, I wouldn't say bullies, but, in charge of everything so long. It's just people are sick of it. They're sick of authority. They're even sick of God. They're sick of the devil. They're sick of everything. They're just sick, and that's what happens when you have a kingdom that was sacked with disease and, food, bad food, drinking water. That's what happens to a country, folks. We told them, I don't know how many years ago, but I don't know. It's just crazy.
Basically been thrown into a pseudo law enforcement function, most of whom don't really have law enforcement backgrounds. And that adds, I think, a real wild card element to this thing. We don't really know how those folks would respond if confronted with a violent incident on the street with an armed person. So there's a lot of variability, I think, in the platform here, and so we'll have to just wait to see what more facts develop from the investigation.
Very important perspective there, as we're getting a new vantage point of the scene, just about a block from the White House in Washington, D.C., where we've learned there's been a shooting. At least 2 National Guardsmen, according to DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, have been shot. Police say that a suspect is currently in custody. Unclear at this point whether those guardsmen were actually targeted, whether they were responding to an already unfolding incident. Those details are being gathered as we speak, and we see a very large law enforcement presence there. We've seen ATF, U.S. Marshals, FBI, and obviously National Guard members.
DeKalb brand has a product to fit your field. We endlessly innovate, pairing it with deep agronomic.
Well, it's just crazy. Hold on to your hats. Hopefully we make it through Thanksgiving and Christmas. What's up, Valdez? Just a couple National Guards got taken out or something, they're saying. They're still alive from what they're saying. But it's just nuts. It's completely crazy. Hunker down, folks. Let's get through the Thanksgiving and Christmas. Hopefully, with all the stuff, all the reports that we're getting in and it's just gone mad. Ooh, we're starting to get some snow out there, folks. It's starting to snow. It's pretty chilly out there today. I had to run over to my mother's this morning, and the wind was just unbelievable. We got a lot of wind out here. We got a lot of stuff out here, a bunch of stuff going on. Like I said, let's just get through the holidays, and then we're trying to call everything off, war and all this madness that they created until after the holidays. Think of the kids, yada yada yada. But it's just America's in a very bad place, and if they don't do something, there ain't gonna be. Well, there ain't. It's pretty much over with, but we're doing our best. They just don't want to. They don't want to use new technology. They don't want to use drones. They don't want to yada yada yada. They just want to sit and watch people one at a time. It's just horrible. It's just crazy. Crazy. This is what happens when people when they suffer from God syndrome. They just think, I don't know. It's horrible. But I can tell you this much. The only ones that will probably be suffering out of this madness is us everyday working man civilians. Right? You have to really think of it. The government's got bunkers already for them to go, for military. Now we got so much military shit underground right now. It's unbelievable, But what they did was they wanted their country to be unprotected. You remember in the 50s, everyone had a bomb shelter in their backyard. Everyone. And what did the government say? We don't need that stuff. They dismantled. They made people dismantle the bomb shelters and everything. And of course, it was perfect plan. They're nuts. They're completely nuts. And now so many people are without. If this country does get hit with something, there's nowhere to go. They don't have enough bomb shelters to hold their people like China, Japan, Russia. That's what they've been working on, idiots. Your government's been, well, we want to do it. Yeah. See, these guys have been planning and waiting for this madness. They must have known something we didn't know, because they've been building bunkers for their whole civilization. America's got nothing. Yeah. There's nothing really you could do. Really nothing you could do. They want to do this, they want to do that. I suggest you start building bunkers to hold massive millions of people. In case this goes, they got such a jump on it. So everyone, what are they doing out there in that island? Well, what do you think they're doing? They're preparing. The Lord must have told them, prepare, and that's what they're doing. Here you tell someone the Lord said this is going to happen. Oh, you're crazy. Take these pills. All right. Well, they don't want to listen. And I don't care anymore. I'm 50 some years old. These people ran me through the ringer since the day I was born. You think I give a crap? I'm going to enjoy my time, sit right here. I'm going to break any laws to give them any chances to do anything stupid. You're allowed to bear weapons. Some of you are felons. You can't. You're not supposed to be around weapons. You can't. There's nothing anyone could do. It's like, I was over at Mrs. Brooks earlier today listening to her and them about JLR shouldn't be in the woods out there and in the mountains without a weapon. That's true. But being he's a felon, he can't have a weapon. I mean, he can, but if he got caught with it, he'd go right back in prison. So JLR should be hiring someone that's capable of carrying weapons, and if something goes bad, he could be protected. You wouldn't catch me out there. You don't know. I'm shocked he made it out of there. You can see all the wild cannabis growing in the hip mountains out there and wherever he was. You can see all, I always said on top of Old Smoky, all covered in meth. And that's probably what it is. It's just, and let me go ahead and help you folks. Ginseng is the new cocaine of the 2025. I know it's crazy. People are like, what? You got to be crazy. Ginseng, you drink a lot of it and you're going to be up for days. It's like cocaine. It is the new cocaine, the poor man's cocaine. That's what ginseng does. Gives you a lot of energy and crazy. Yeah. It isn't just about all these sport drinks or whatever. You drink a lot of that, your heart will literally explode right in your chest. And, they just don't want to see what's coming. And I think it's over. They're like, Richard Wolff said that. Richard Wolff did say that, but he listened to me 10 years ago when we told them it's coming to an end. And it is. It's over with. They'd have to use massive amounts of stuff, and they just say they can't do it. And the laws that are in place, half of this population will be gone before they can do anything. So what do? Nothing. Stay home. Enjoy your time. When you go out, get back home. The more you're out in public, the more chance they have. Anyone comes knocking at your door, blow a hole. If you don't know who they are and they look suspicious or dangerous, blow a hole through the door, take them out. Hey, we're just doing what our our police officers are telling us to do. We're just doing what Judge Grady down there in Florida is doing, right? They come on your property, blow holes in them. Right? You can fill out the forms or whatever afterwards. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares. You wrecked our lives, and now you want us to all go ahead and kumbaya with you people? Are you effing nuts? You people must be nuts. They must be nuts. Completely. I'm crazy, but not that crazy. I know people that are severe mentally ill, and they don't act like these idiots. Thank God we're just doing movies here. And that's all we can do, because if we did anything like we do in our movies, you'd be 6 foot under or in prison. So I'm not breaking that law. Not unless I have to. And it's just lies. These people don't want to hear the truth. He's an idiot. Don't listen to him. Well, you best listen to the Lord then, the King of Kings, the light within the dark, which this country's going to be in the dark pretty soon. That's all you can. They don't even want to listen to him. So they don't want to listen to God. They don't want to listen to the president. They don't want to listen to nothing. Someone opened Pandora's box and conjured this thing, created it. Either that or this country was biologically hit, and your professional government people don't want to admit that this country got hit. Now, there you folks go. We'll be back with more information about the madness among us. Let's get through Thanksgiving and Christmas. Always protect the kids, your citizens, your town, and even them. Even they go crazy and go rogue. And there's a lot of reports coming in that over half of the military has refused to take any orders from any White House or any politician. It's just, and they should have. That's the way it should have been. The military is a machine. It don't need to take orders. Its country gets attacked, they hit. That's what they were trained to do. They don't need to take orders from nobody. So that's what we're seeing now, folks. It's happening. Either you're on their side or you're not. And we support our beloved Mother Green and the Buck Kicking Machine, all 4 branches that you folks know about, and the 20 other branches that are just as powerful as the United States military. That's who we back. And that's who we support. And you're going to see these people. You're all going to feel these people. You're all going to feel the pain that you put us through, as Mr. George Bush said, right? You're going to feel my pain. All right, folks, there you go. What a great movie. Keep the cameras rolling. All glory goes to God, King of Kings. I would rather believe in something good than evil. And boy, did they do a good job in trying to turn us all evil. Next will be an invasion of our little green men, which it's going to send these people over the top. If an alien ship comes down and lands in their front yard, they're going to go nuts. Oh, Debbie, Miss Fox, how you doing? It is horrible, but they just won't listen. They know it all. They're kings and they're God syndrome. It's just gone crazy. It has just gone crazy. Hunker down, little lady. Hunker down. Ginseng is the new cocaine, the new yayo, the new Peruvian flake, whatever they call it, Bavarian flake, cocaine or whatever, a southern thing down there. That's what ginseng is. Be safe, ladies and gentlemen. And we are now getting some snow to fall. It is literally starting to snow out. So I will be back with an outdoor video of cold, wind, snow, rain, sleet. We got it all up here up north. We're getting it all. We're getting hit from everywhere. But if it was not for thy God Almighty, we'd all already be gone. So all glory goes to God. Amen. And I'm not a biblical person. I'm not someone that knows the whole Bible. I'm not somebody that knows that ain't my job to know everything. My job is to believe in Jesus Christ and God Almighty, and give him thanks. Right? And you folks be out there, be safe. When they start going, I mean, of course, I can repeat Bible verses, but there ain't no way I'm doing that because we've already proven it in history. Once these guys start bringing up Bible verses and stuff, they've been brainwashed. So you folks be safe. And I do believe America has turned into the next Davidian, Branch Davidian or whatever. The whole of the United States. It's unreal. All right, what's Valdez saying? What happened now, yo? Well, I already told you what happened. We got some really dark clouds coming in. Them are snow clouds. So you folks be safe. Up north here, about maybe 20 minutes away, not even. Right over the border here, which is like 10 minutes away, not even. You folks are getting hit pretty good up there with snow. It's unreal. So be safe. Thank God we missed that snow ban. Thank God there's a fine line. And you can literally drive. It'd be fine, cold wind. You drive 5 minutes away and it's literally, you can see it's like a wall of snow. It's unbelievable. But yeah, they're getting hit pretty big up there. So be safe. All glory goes to God again. I want to thank everyone for stopping in, Valdez and Debbie and everybody. And yeah, it's, here's the thing, folks. It's going to get ugly because now we're going to be going through our military, weeding people out. A lot of these people joined the military, and because they were in the military, their families thought they could do whatever, but that's not what's going to be happening. So we're talking about new militaries, getting rid of old, bringing in new. A lot of stuff's going to be going on. We're going to try and keep it pushed off until after the holidays. But that's what's going on in your neck of the woods. Let's go to Al Roker. You folks have a good day. We'll be back.